Hello, my name is Murtuza Gia. I've been in the wonderful field of emergency medicine for the last 5 years. I have been in clinical practice for the last 11 years, and through that, I've written multiple entrance exams and competitive exams. And this is just a general approach about how you could consider going about these exams, because I have learned from some good experiences and many bad experiences that the approach is not regular, how you go about your regular memorizing of facts for other purposes. So what's a good time? Well, the answer is, if you've thought about it, the good time is now, right? But to give you a vague understanding of different time frames, whether you're giving part A, part B or part C, 2 to 3 months is a good time. Which means that if you're doing it less than 2 months, it may be a little difficult. Things can get messy. And if you're doing it for the preparation for more than 3 months, is also not very beneficial. Honestly, I feel the best time is between these two. Because more than 3 months, you're constantly having a complacency. There's enough time. And the intensity of study is not really that great. Also largely depends on your background. How much you've already managed to study earlier, your social situation. Based on that, you may have to alter the time a little bit, plus or minus a month or maximum 2 months. The biggest fear is, am I well prepared? Am I prepared fully to give the exam? Well, that concept doesn't exist at all. There's no concept of fully prepared for a competitive exam. So just go ahead and give it, because one of two outcomes will happen. Either you've not prepared well, which you'll always feel, and you'll clear the exam miraculously, and you can go and have a drink and celebrate. Or because you've not prepared well, you will not clear the exam, but you will feel very unhappy. Yes, you can still go and have a drink and learn to be happy. Further, what you have at the back of your head is one attempt, and that gives you a lot of confidence for the next attempt and makes you wiser. So go for it. As long as you have 5 study leaves in your kitty, this is presuming you're actually doing this while working. If you have 5 study leaves in your kitty, that's a good time. Go ahead and give the exam. If you're in a formal residency of training, I feel the second year of residency in a 3-year program is the best time, because I call this the honeymoon phase. So first year, you're very busy trying to understand the specialty, find your feet. Last year, you're trying to consolidate things and get into a formal exam mode. But the second year is when you're honeymooning, and go ahead with these kind of competitive MRCM-like exams. What's a good source? I don't know. But I know that if you have more than 2 sources at one time, that's definitely not going to do any good. Now, for instance, if you imagine someone with a laptop, with a palm top, and 2 other textbooks here and 1 notebook there, that person is very unlikely to clear a competitive exam. The source can be question answer based or theory based. I won't be giving you any specific details about what's a good source. I'll leave that to your fine judgment, but understand that the sources are widely divided into question answer source and a theory source. So theory source is like your typical textbook, which gives you an explanation of all the concepts. The question answer source is basically a question, a formal question, and its answer and the explanation, which itself acts like theory. It has been proven that this stimulates the brain better and keeps you active and creates like a reward mechanism in your brain. And this is a good way to prepare for entrance and competitive exams. Top it up, of course, with some regular bland theory. Should you use an online source or use a hard copy like a book? This is again purely up to you. You have to imagine yourself. Do you see yourself with a laptop and an online cut, copy, paste kind of preparation and scrolling up and scrolling down preparation? Or you see yourself with a notebook, scratching, underlining, putting multiple colors there and drawing Mickey Mouse? Whatever it is that makes you happy, you have to decide and go with one of them. I tried a combination of both, and that actually worked very well for me. If you're confused about book A versus book B, you can ask multiple friends. Each of them will just confuse you. Each of them will give you their version. What you need to do is take both the books. Read one chapter from book A and read the same chapter from book B. And then you get a lot of insight. So this author explains this way. His style is writing is this way. The book looks this way. I'm very uncomfortable and this book is not for me. I did this and it actually worked out very well for me. Last thing, do not go to Google. You already have enough information which you're not going to be able to digest. So much information from your hard copies and soft copies. Why would you add another bit of confusion by going to Google? Do not do that. Now, classically, in our MBBS days, we pick up those big textbooks and we start from chapter 1, keep going on in a systematic, methodical way. And if you're lucky, we reach chapter 30 and we celebrate. But that does not work when you're studying for competitive exams. So say you've picked up book A, you need to reorganize those chapters. Don't start from chapter 1. In fact, what I did was I started renumbering them. What I thought were difficult topics and important high yield topics, I numbered them as 1, 2, 3 and going downwards to less important topics. Okay, that's because if something goes wrong with your time frame of preparation that you've kept in mind, a timetable, I'd rather have the less important topics compromised and come towards the end than the important topics. Additionally, the beginning of your preparation, at the first of the 3 months, you're very excited and full of enthusiasm. And at that point, you rather do the difficult topics. Also because towards the end, if you had one chance to revise, you rather again revise the difficult important topics which have been studied in the beginning. Okay. If you leave these topics for the end, last few days you're panicking and you really can't absorb that much from a difficult topic. Revision, it's very important to have a clear strategy. This has to be said or written very clearly that I'm going to revise this way towards the end. Ideally, you should be revising every day. So what I did was I read on the first day, say I read a topic for 1 hour. The next day I revised it for 10 minutes. And on day 7, I just quickly looked through it for 2 minutes. I'm told this helps in long-term memory and I think it's served me well. This is the biggest point that I'd like to stress, and all of us tend to suffer from this issue. So we read one topic and we feel really, we feel that we're getting into it and we want to know more and more about it and master that topic. The amount of time spent mastering one topic is so significant that sometimes you don't read the other topics too well. And honestly, if there was one person who's read a few topics rather really well, and the other person who's not read them so well, he's just got to move on topic after topic. He just finished the entire wide spectrum, the jack of all, he's more likely to succeed in a competitive exam. And this is such an important point because I know that urge in you to know things perfectly, because that's how we've been, the education system has been that way, but not so for this exam. I'll stress this point with just some simple mathematics. You can do your own math. I'm just giving you a concept of how the math can be done. Say you follow the question answer session of studying and you spend 30 minutes per question. This means that you do the question answer and the explanation for 30 minutes. This is because you like reading everything and being sure of everything within the fine print also. Standard MRCM part A, you get 2000 odd questions online. And now you multiply 2000 into 30 minutes. You'll get 60,000 minutes. 60,000 minutes is nothing but 1000 hours. So 1000 hours you need to complete this. Say you're really ambitious and you spend 5 hours a day. I know you're not going to spend 5 hours a day for 3 months or whatever months you've decided, but 5 hours a day on an ambitious side. Now you divide 1000 by 5. This is actually 200 days. 200 days is almost 6 months. You are not going to be able to sustain 5 hours a day for 6 months, which means you've got the entire math wrong. Do your own math and come to a certain conclusion. I sat and did this. I kept 10 minutes of my time per question and I kept 1 hour targets. I had to finish these many questions in 1 hour. And if one question was really taking more than 10 minutes, I made sure that the other question compensated for it. Honestly, it made me very uncomfortable. I felt like I'm leaving a lot of things halfway through. I'm just running through them. It made me very uncomfortable. But I knew that if I completed my portion reasonably well and revised, I would manage to do fairly well. And that's what I did. Further, everyone wants to be a hard worker, very typical hard worker. So what you do here is sit for hours together, 3 to 4 hours, and sweating and all your hair is coming out and you are generating a lot of sympathy that is working hard. Also then what you're doing is looking to memorize, find some mnemonics and draw something and try to mug it up. This is what a hard worker does. A smart worker, first thing, learns that there are limitations, sits for 45 minutes to 1 hour at a time, and then straight away walks off and gets a break. Also a smart worker is looking to understand and correlate concepts. So not just looking to memorize them. So if you read something in one chapter, to correlate that with another chapter, to keep creating associations between them, or if you read something in one subject, to correlate with another subject. For this, you may require the help of your friends. Please use that. Some people do not like to read together. That's all right. I would strongly advise you to read together, because when you're reading together, what is happening is you're saving a lot of time. Some of the concepts here are very, very complicated, and just to crack the concept, you may take a lot of time. But if your friend has cracked another concept, he can save on your time, you can save on his time. Additionally, while you're explaining the concept to your friend, you are actually revising the subject for yourself. So I prefer that, but some people just do not like reading together. In that case, you can do something else. Read separately, do not discuss anything, but please have a friend who's preparing for the similar exam sitting in the same room. I'll tell you what this does. This creates a lot of funny passive pressure and responsibility, and this can have a huge impact in your preparation. This is simply because one of the biggest factors in inadequate preparation is the fact that you just can't sit tight anymore. You could do that when you were younger, but if you're old and aging now, there's only that much you can do by sitting tight. But if you have a friend there who's sitting there, there's less chance you'll pick up a mobile phone, answer a call, send a message, play a game, lie down, read a novel, because he's sitting there, you can't disturb him. That creates, and also some fear. Your friend is doing that, you might as well do it. So with that point, I'd like to conclude this segment. Yes, make some friends and try to find some good study pals. I wish you all the best for all your exams. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patient listening.